The romantic poets of the early 19th century used opium to stimulate visions. Coleridge wrote the epic poem Kubla Khan while in an opium-induced trance. The poem was never finished. Coleridge was interrupted by a knock on his door. Now, it seemed to me that if we could go back in time and prevent this interruption from occurring, the poem would be finished for all to enjoy. As we arrive, we see Coleridge. He sat down to finish the poem. He writes a few stanzas, but he's worried, agitated. He cannot finish the poem. He cannot remember where he left off in his vision. The crew and I go out into the foggy streets because Coleridge tells us he needs more opium. And that night, we get more opium from a street vendor. But he tells us that the Chinese have stopped selling opium to the British. Consequently, he has no opium. He asks maybe we'd like some hashish. When we return to Coleridge with the bad news, we carefully read that the new parts of the Kubla Khan, and we find there clues of the actual location of Xanadu. Xanadu. The River Alth is mentioned in Milton, and the pleasure palace in Xanadu was reported by Marco Polo. So I draw a map and just in time sets the time machine for the South China Sea, 1840. As our airship arrives over Xanadu, a cannonball rips through the rigging. We begin to lose altitude. We crash in a field of red poppies. I summons the swimming Capricorn from its berth in the Xanadu Caves of Ice. That's an app I have on the time machine. We arrive just in time to see the opening salvos of the First Opium War. Justin says we cannot interfere with the outcome of this great naval battle, so we watch from the windows of our conning tower. The East India Trading Company has built an ironclad steamship with an 8-pound cannon inside a revolving turret, and they have rockets. The ironclad, known as the Nemesis, blows several Imperial war junks out of the water. The British decide to put boots on the ground. The Royal Marines storm a Chinese fort and slaughter everyone in sight.